Hey everyone, welcome back to Superhero Talk. Today's episode 10, Green Lantern's Downfall, aka Emerald Twilight. Now, Emerald Twilight is a book written by Ron Marz back in the 90s. I'm gonna throw in a warning today just because today's story includes violence, action, death, and some other things that may not be suitable for younger children. So I'd say if you're a teenager, 13 or older, you should be okay. But get your parents' approval. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm your host, Brendan Strevick from the Priestley Forsyth Memorial Library. Today's episode of Superhero Talk is going to be a little different from the first 9 episodes. I wanted to give you guys one of my favorite comic book stories, just because I feel like most comic books still have this negative stigma to them, that they're all like Garfield or Peanuts. Not hating on them, but comics have evolved a lot more than that in the last couple of decades. Today's story covers Emerald Twilight, one of my favorite Green Lantern stories that covers Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner. So the first thing to know is there is thousands of Green Lanterns out in the universe. They all reside on the planet Oa, headquarters of the Green Lanterns, and they answer to the Guardians. A Green Lantern is chosen by the Guardians based on that person's willpower. Let's meet our hero, Hal Jordan. Child, Hal Jordan loved to see his dad fly. He wanted to be just like him. But on one fateful day, Hal witnessed his father crashing his airplane. When Hal became 18, he signed up for the Air Force the first chance he could. But he got kicked out for being outspoken, and he got a job at Ferris Airlines. One fateful day when Hal was out flying, he came across a crashed alien spaceship with a dying alien named Abin Sur. Abin handed Hal a ring and told him he was now a Green Lantern. Now, this human from Earth, Hal Jordan, would soon prove to be one of the greatest Green Lanterns to ever live and lead the Corps for years. But one day he faces one of his greatest threats, the villain Mongol, who destroys Coast City, the city where Green Lantern lived, the city where Hal Jordan grew up. And this is where our story, Emerald Twilight, starts. Before you is all that remains of Coast City, the city where Green Lantern grew up, the city where he had friends, family, shops he liked to shop at, his favorite restaurants. Everything he knew is now gone, and he's a broken man. His ring gives him the powers to create anything his mind can come up with, but even with that power, it wasn't enough to save his city. Hal is broken, so he wants some comfort, so the only thing he can think of is creating his dad with his ring. All he wants is support, to know that he's a hero, that he didn't fail, that Coast City's destruction isn't his fault. But all of this is only in Hal's head. He's creating all of this himself, and deep down, he blames himself for the destruction. Hal decides to use his ring to recreate Coast City, everything, exactly how it was, all with his ring. He's so happy. The city is thriving, people are around. It's like it never happened. But suddenly, it all fades away, and Hal is standing in the wreckage of Coast City once again, being lectured by one of the Guardians. He is not to use his ring for personal gain, and must report to Oa for questioning. Hal is furious. After all the times he's saved the world, saved the universe, the civilizations he's saved, the times he's saved the Guardians, now they want to take away his power, all because he recreated his home? He takes the power for himself. Angry, he's going to Oa to get his power back. The Guardians send Green Lanterns to stop Hal before he reaches Oa, but one by one he takes them out and takes their rings from them. After collecting multiple rings, Hal shows up to Oa, intent on collecting all the power from the central battery that powers the Green Lantern's rings. But out from the battery steps a hooded man, and Hal is shocked to see him. It's none other than his greatest enemy, Sinestro, who was imprisoned inside the central battery. Hal asks why Sinestro is let loose, and Sinestro says, "Perhaps they thought me the lesser of two evils." And a battle between them breaks out, but Sinestro challenges Hal to take off all the rings, to beat him 1 ring versus 1 ring. The two men battle, and after a long, arduous battle, only Hal remains after defeating Sinestro. There's still one man standing in Hal's way of the central battery, his old friend Kilowog. Kilowog puts up a fight to stop his old friend Hal. He pleads with Hal to stop. It's not too late to turn back. Hal didn't kill anyone. He can still be good. He can still be the man Kilowog knew he was. But Hal says it's too late. He needs that power. And with tears in his eyes, he defeats Kilowog. He lays at Kilowog's feet, tears in his eyes. Hal thinks to himself, what have I done? He says, I've crossed the line, Kilowog. I can't go back. Now I don't deserve this, as he tosses his Green Lantern ring aside and steps into the central battery, claiming the power for himself. Hal steps out of the central battery, now going as Parallax with more power than he's ever had before, and he sets out to bring Coast City back. The Guardians use the last of their power to create one last ring to save the Green Lantern Corps, and Ganthet sets out to find a new Green Lantern. Back on Earth, Kyle Rayner, an artist, steps out of a club into an alley when he sees a green light up in the sky coming his way. It's none other than Ganthet, who hands Kyle a ring and says, you shall have to do. Kyle Rayner of Earth, you have been chosen. And Kyle puts on the ring and becomes the new Green Lantern. Well, I hope you guys liked that story. Again, this is Green Lantern Emerald Twilight by Ron Marz. If you like this book, you can pick it up. Green Lantern Emerald Twilight. It's also collected in Green Lantern Kyle Rayner Volume 1. And if you're worried about our hero, Hal Jordan, eventually he comes back, and his actions are justified. But that's a story for another time. And Kyle Rayner, our new Green Lantern, wields his ring as a true hero for years. I'm your host, Brendan Strevick from the Priestley Forsyth Memorial Library. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the Superhero Talk videos. And if you like this, hopefully more stories are coming as well. Have a good day, everyone.